All right, welcome ICS2O folks. Hopefully you've got this code. Hopefully you've got the note. I will take you through the note fairly quickly. It looks like a lot of code and a lot of stuff going on, but um, I'll walk you through it. When you run it, it's actually some graphics, right? It's two things happen. And it's already finished, but if I were to go again, run it again, an English flag, and then a Japanese flag, and then it's done. So what's going on? Well, obviously in Turing we can draw some pictures, and that's what we've done. So there's a whole bunch of draw line commands. Draw line, draw line, draw line. I'm going to run this again and then pause it. Okay. So here, when we've done this, is in the middle of this delay here, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. But these lines, 0, 150, 270, are just lines that we've drawn that are the edges of the red part. Okay? So back in the note, it says some Turing graphics of draw line, x1, y1, x2, y2 is a line that's drawn from pixel whatever to pixel whatever. On the screen, just like in math class, this bottom corner here is 0, 0. So if I go over this way, that's increasing the x value. So this spot here is x would be, I think there's actually an error on there. This x would be 250, and the y is 0. 250 and 0. And so this one should say, actually should say 0, 150. Maybe you should change. I'll have fixed the note by the time you get it anyway. That's 0 and then a y value of 150. And in Turing, that's the line that from 0, 150, that was the start line, to 270, 150. That point right there is 270 in the direction of x and 150 in the just like in math class. Whoever thought we'd use that silly math stuff, but we do. And we drew a line along there. Okay. That drew that line. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Right here. That line right there is that code right here. This is the color code. And I think in the on the website there's a reference to page numbers where you can look up the codes. Obviously 4 is red. And then it drew, because there's some comments that help you figure this out. Bottom left. So this is then 270, 150, 270, 150 to 270, 0. So this is the spot 270, 0. Okay, great. And so how does this actually end up being filled in red if that just drew a line? Well, what happens? It drew all these lines. There was a line along there. And then the next thing, top left, so it drew lines along here, and then it drew lines along the top right along here, and then the bottom right along here, and then it draw fill. It's like it put the started right there at 300, 200, and filled with this color until it reached this color. So it's like in the good old drawing program Paint. If I click on there, it'll fill until it gets to an edge that's that color. So if I could find my paint here, I'm going to pause the video so I can find paint. Okay, so there's paint. And so the idea of the draw fill is if I click here, it'll fill it until it gets to the next spot, right? And so if I click it out here, it's going to fill everything till it gets to the next color. What Turing does is it fills it with this color until it reaches that color. So for instance, if I were to change this, and you don't have to change, you shouldn't change this necessarily, and I want to fill it with 4 until I reach some other color, 5 that I don't even know, bam, it just colored the whole thing in. Because what happened there, I'm going to run it again and pause it. What happened is it drew the lines and then it filled it with red until it reached this other color 5, but it didn't find that other color 5 at all, so it just filled the whole thing in. And so if you get drawings not showing up, you got to make sure that you're actually um, got the whole thing colored in there, or you're clicking in the right spot. Remember, if you have, want to show you this as well, same sort of thing, that if you have a little hole in your picture and start coloring, that it'll bleed out and color everything in. It has to be an enclosed area, otherwise the entire thing gets colored in, and that's the same thing with touring. Okay, and you've got this note, so don't have to wait for you to copy it. And we don't put X's and Y's and C1s, and these are actually numbers, right? Just like in the code, right? In the code here, draw fill was where the little paint bucket got clicked, and then those were colors. Just like here they were X and Y coordinates all over the place, then they're not X's and Y's, although they could be, and we'll see that later. What else happened here that was cool in this program? Well, another thing that was cool is the delay command. The delay pauses execution for a certain amount. So, if I wanted it 5 seconds, it's 5,000 in there. I think in my program it was a 2-second pause, and so I put in 2,000. So that will actually allow the user to see what's going on. Notice without that, the execution would be so fast that we wouldn't even see the English flag at all. I'll show you. If I were to comment that out and then run it, did we see the English flag? No, we did not. It was so fast we didn't even see it. So we can put a little delay in there. Draw oval was the part of the Japanese flag. So on the Japanese flag, what we did here is it says it will draw an oval centered at pixel XY. So again, coordinates, there's the center of this oval with radii R1 and R2. Well, for a circle, these numbers should be the same, right? So this radius on this way is R1, and the radius this way is R2. And so in my code, if you see the code for that was draw oval, and I'll talk about the max X. There's the X coordinate, there's the Y coordinate, but there's the radii. The radii are 100 pixels this way and 100 pixels that way, and it colored it in, it drew a red circle, and then I clicked in the same way that I did for the English flag, so it would color that in. Color back will change. Okay, hang on. Before I get to that, I want to talk about this max business. Max X is the entire length of the output window. So this output window is called, this from here to here is called max X. From here to here is max Y. So max X div 2, max Y div 2, what does that do? Well, that finds the exact middle. That finds the center. Max X div 2 and max Y div 2. And then it colors in the middle. All right. Before I get on, I wanted to mention about that max X. Notice that you could have just figured this out, and I think I said it was on the last slide, it was 640, and the max Y was 400, and so that will, if you wanted to put in 640 divided by 2 is 320, and just calculate that, you could have done that as well. That would have worked as well. Last note. What was the last note that I had? Color back. We'll change the color, the background color to C. So notice that on my code I never did that, but I want to show you that. Also notice that when I was using the drawing things, I need to include that set screen graphics to show that I'm going to be using graphics. So for instance, if I wanted to change the color of the screen to some other color, I'll look not color black, color back, that's like the background color, and let's say I wanted to make it 2. I don't know what color 2 is, but I guess we'll find out in a second. Maybe it's, oh, I guess it's green. I guess it's green. No, notice what's funny there is the first stuff executed so fast that the color back never actually clicked in. When it did click in, by the way, was when the screen was cleared. And it says, note, the order that you execute commands is very important. So for instance, if, let me just show you this. If we were to clear the screen, CLS, clear screen, before we delayed, whoops, CLS, before we delayed, what would happen? There's our cleared screen, but where'd the English flag go? Where'd the English flag go? We never saw any green English flag. Well, that's because this executed so fast and cleared the screen, then we delayed, then it was a cleared screen that we delayed on. If we change the order of two things, it's going to vastly affect the way the program behaves. Even though they're the same commands, the order things happen in are important. So for instance, if I were to set the color of the background down here, let's get a different color in here too. After the clear screen, that should be okay. But it didn't change the color. Again, it was so fast that it didn't have a chance to change the color. Now, if we were to clear the screen again at the end, it will have changed the color because we didn't clear the screen until after we changed the color. Japanese flag didn't even get a chance to print out because we cleared the screen so fast. We could change that by putting a delay in. Notice that I'm gonna comment that out, and then I'm gonna switch the order here. If I put two commands exactly, I just by the way, I just pressed Control X and then Control V, but I could have used my copy and paste buttons there, Control V. Watch what happens here. So notice on my Japanese flag, I'm filling first and then drawing the oval. And I'm actually going to change the color of the oval here just so I can show you that it's a little bit weird. Let's get a different color again. English flag's fine. Notice that it cleared the screen and set the color to be this color. The draw fill filled the entire thing red. The entire thing red. Why did it fill the entire thing red? Well, it was because that circle hadn't been drawn yet. That circle hadn't been drawn yet, and even if it was, I suppose that should have been color 5. But then it drew the circle in the middle. I changed the order of the commands, and it changed the way the program behaves. So be careful. Remember, the computer will just do one command, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. Okay? So if you switch the order, then you got to save and rerun. All right. Your task for today, I believe, is to make draw a flag of your own. And no, you can't do the English flag, and you can't do the Japanese flag because those are the ones that I did. Okay, that's it. Oh, remember to save up your well, I guess you've got this saved, but that's all you need to do for the save that in your flag code.